All right. So this is the file for today, and so having discussed assignment number one, and I thought that was a pretty useful discussion. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about. So this is actually based on some questions that you guys have raised. Okay, so we already talked about assignment number one. And now there might be other things I want to tell you. So the group assignment is now assignment number one, okay, which is due on January 25. Now the next lecture is going to be next Friday, next week, next year, okay? And the next tutorial, so we're just going to run one. I think this class size is good. I like this, it's optimal. It's not too many, not too few. So we're just going to have one tutorial a week on a Saturday night, regularly. Okay? The final exam should be on March the 2nd now, okay? At around 6:30. Is there anyone who's not available? Oh, would you prefer PM? Yeah, you would. All right. Sorry, it's a typo. Now this is the calendar, and I am thinking that we would run a longer tutorial for the last session. Which is not on the 24th, by the way. 24th, unfortunately, I have an engagement on the 24th. So that night I can't make it, but this is actually a Sunday. Typically, running up to the exam, students have lots and lots of questions. So we might try and do that, okay? But don't worry about that for now. This is also a Sunday. I'm sorry because I have a wedding I need to go to on February 10th. It's not my own wedding. Someone's wedding, I can't, someone in the family, I can't get out of that. It will only happen once. Hopefully, to that couple, I mean. All right, now, some of you are asking me about this futures role thing. So I think it's worth spending just a little bit of time. Because some of you seem to be a bit confused. Now this is related to lecture one on page 69. So I'll show you where that is. So lecture one, page 69. It's just a few pages before. Oh, it's not. Here I think the futures role 68. Okay. So there was this case where now first of all, a bit of definition. So when you go long, this is how I write going long. Okay, so technically when you are long the futures role, it means that you are buying it. Okay, and so when you are buying it, you are buying the one which is further out, and you are selling the one which is nearer. Okay, so you buy the one which is further out, and you sell the one which is closer to you. I'll denote that by a little t. Okay, so that's just a matter of definition. Okay, number one. So when you buy a futures role, or when you go long, you buy the one which is further away, and you sell the one closer to you. Okay. and that is equivalent to being long the interest and being short the dividend. And you can actually see that by if you are long this one and you are short this one, okay? So this one, it contains the interest from now to December. So you will enjoy this interest rate, but when you sell the other one, you're going to be paying away from now to September. So this is now might be sometime in August, for example, okay? So August to September and then August to December. Okay, so obviously when you trade the two, you are left with just this gap here. Okay, and then likewise on the dividend. So when you trade this one, okay, your pricing is impacted by the dividend from August all the way to December. Please notice there's a minus sign in front of it. Okay. Now, just to summarize, when you trade the two of them together, what you have done, and this is often called a calendar spread, is you are trading this. So if you want this to go up, either this go up and you make money, okay, or if this goes down, you also make money. You just want this to go up. On the left hand side, there are two ways for it to go up. Either the interest rate changes upwards or the dividend changes downwards. Okay, and that is the essence of this trade. In that, and this was a real arbitrage, but people didn't realize that the French bank SocGen, actually they had some really bad news because one of their traders lost around 5 billion euros by covering up his losses. I often wonder how these traders can make mistakes like that. We used to joke around in the trading room. In order to lose 5 billion euros, you have to be damn hardworking. It's not that easy, but this guy managed it somehow. So anyway, of course, then if SocGen lost so much money, then they wouldn't be able to pay a dividend. That's the whole point. So whatever the market was pricing in before that bad news, it really should make an adjustment. And then it did not. It did not do so. Okay, so this should go down. Okay, but it did not for quite a while. For a period of 1 week or more, it did not. Okay, and that's how you could profit from that. Okay, that's the futures role. Let me just close this down. Save. Okay. Now, actually, these things, I guess, I don't want to say too much sometimes because for this course, quite often you have to go home and try and digest it and think about it yourself. And some of these topics are a little bit complex. Okay. Okay, now let me go to so on pairs trading. Okay, I want to give you some context on that. Now this is related to lecture, still on lecture 1, I think. So a little further on, we start talking about pairs trading. And I want to, hold on, Okay, somewhere around about page 70. Okay, now the whole idea of pairs trading is this. Now, in this instance, and there is a variation a little afterwards, but in this instance, we are talking about trading the same product, but in different exchanges. Okay? What's the underlying again? To the Euro Stoxx 50. Anyway, there is a contract where there is what we call a main market. It doesn't say what this is. Anyway, I just assume it's the Euro Stoxx 50. Now, there are some products where there is a main market. So for example, this is one that trades out in Durex, and it's very active and it's very liquid. But quite often you can actually trade similar or identical product in another exchange, in this case in Singapore. Now Singapore is actually, they're very good at stuff like that. And what I mean is they copy an idea from another exchange and say, wow, this one, the contract size is quite big. So let's do a copy and paste. And I really need that copy and paste, okay? And they make the size smaller so that uncles and aunties can participate. Another example is you can trade Nikkei futures out of Singapore, for example. Now you're wondering, why don't I just trade it out of Osaka? You know, why Singapore? Because they make it smaller. So the size. So that's an example. So quite often you get an underlying product or an index. There is a main market which is a lot bigger, a lot more active, a lot more liquid, with much tighter bid-offer spreads. And then there's another style market where the trading is not nearly as active. All right? So the bid offer is wider and it doesn't trade as often. Okay? So you have instances, and of course, when you have examples like that, people will try to arbitrage the two. Why not? Okay? Let me just start on this. And I want to just impress upon you the few key ideas to help you understand what's going on here. Okay, the first idea is this. Okay, that there is this thing called a price maker versus a price taker. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is, if you go to a market, any market, okay, let me make an example. Okay. Okay, they don't show you the bid offers here. Okay, it doesn't matter. Now, I'm looking at the futures contract, for example, for the S&P 500 index futures, where the last price was 2,668.25. Okay. Now, I don't know whether, so this, it says last here. So there was a transaction at that price. And I don't know whether this was a buy or sell, but let's say this was somebody's bid. So this is bid, this is offer, 2668, let's say 0.5. Okay, so now you have a market, and just imagine it is actually trading. Now, what does it mean if you are a price taker? Okay, if you are a price taker, that means you go to this market, and if you want to buy, okay, you would have to buy on the offer side. You are just taking somebody's price, okay? So you buy at the high price and you sell at the low price. That's when you are a price taker, okay? So the market's already there. It's up to you whether you want to trade or not, okay? But if you want to trade right now, you take these prices, you take it or leave it. Now, if you are a price maker, okay, it is the other way around. So what I mean by that is you, as a price maker, okay, you can actually put these prices out there. You can say, I am happy to buy at 2668 and a quarter. And so here is where you buy. And here is where you actually sell. Now the difference is, if this is where the market is trading now, and you act as a price taker, you could go out there and you can trade right away because these prices are available. Okay? But if you're a price maker, what you do is you put these levels. So you say, I buy at this price, I sell at this price, and then what? You sit there and you wait until someone actually will trade with your prices. You see the difference? Yeah. So this is the. I think you have to get that idea in your mind because before you start to understand what's actually going on with a lot of these slides. Okay. So there's a thing about being a price taker and a price maker. So if you're a price taker, the good thing is you can trade right away. But guess what? When you buy at somebody else's offer, and when you sell at a lower price. It's someone else's bid. Whereas if you are a price maker, you put these prices, these are your prices, you just put them out and you wait until someone, hit your bid or lift your offer. Is everyone okay with that? It's a simple idea, okay? Now, but if you're okay with that, then a lot of this stuff should start to make sense to you, okay? Now, for example, so let me take you to the next page. So when you are, in this instance, so you are trying to arbitrage between the Eurex and the Singapore exchange. Now the Eurex is the main market. It's the one which is what I call deeper and liquid. Okay, now these words actually have meaning, by the way. Okay, what does it mean when a market is liquid? That means there's a lot of active trading, back and forth, buy, sell, lots of parties, lots of transactions, lots of activities. one of the best indicators of liquidity, what do you think that is? Trading volume is a good one, but yes, it is. If you can't see that, what do you think is, yes, I agree. But what else? Very good. The bid-ask spread, okay? That is why investors love to trade FX, even though most people lose money, okay? Because the bid offer is so tight. What is so good about a tight bid offer? Well, I tell you, if it's very, very tight, it means you trade something and it just has to move a little bit, okay? And you can already get out if you want to, okay? So it's very, very easy. That's why people don't like illiquid markets, or they want some compensation for it. Okay? Deep, what the hell does that mean? Okay, it means the market can trade in big sizes and not move a hell of a lot. Okay, that's a deep market. Again, the FX market is the deepest market I can think of. Okay? Maybe US Treasuries, because the volumes are huge, and you can trade big sizes and the price wouldn't move at all. Okay? That's a deep market. So compared to the SGX, it's a lot shallower and illiquid. Okay, relatively, the sizes are small. So what you want to do is that is why you want to make prices. You want to put out your own. You put out your own bids and offers on the less liquid market, and and then you wait. Okay, you just sit there and you wait, and then if someone hits your bid or lifts your offer, then you turn around and you do your hedging in the more liquid market, in this case the Eurex. Now, why would you do that? Because it's easy, that's why. Okay? Are you with me there? Okay? So I think that I should try and give you the context, otherwise you have no clue, or perhaps you do, but some of you are wondering, yeah, what is this stuff all about? Okay? It's all about arbitraging two markets where you try to be a price maker on the less liquid one. You wait until someone trades with you, and then you turn around and you try to put on the other side of the arbitrage by going into the more liquid, because it's a lot easier, it's faster, it's cheaper. Okay? Is everyone okay with that? Sure. Make sense? Okay. There's an example. Okay. So I try to. This is just my reinterpretation of what is going on. So if you in diagram format. Now, if you have two markets, so the Eurex, so this is the bid level, this is the offer, and the Singapore exchange. So you can see the bid offer is wider. Okay. So what you would do if you want to arbitrage is you as a price maker, okay, as a price maker. So you're happy to buy here, and hopefully somebody will sell at this level in Singapore, okay? And if shortly after someone is happy to buy at this, it will be someone different perhaps, okay? Somebody else is happy to buy here, then you have made this money from bid to offer. Now that's the best case, but you need to wait, as I said, okay? The alternative, of course, is as soon as somebody hits your bid in Singapore, you just turn around and right away you hedge in Eurex. But then the money that you now make is the difference between here and here, because here you are buying, well, you're buying as a price maker, right? Whereas here you are, what are you doing? You are selling, but you are selling as a price taker. So you are selling at someone's bid. Are you with me? Yeah? Does that make sense to you now? Yeah? Okay, so that is what I call the second best case. So in the first case, you have to wait, because you have to wait for this to happen, and then you have to wait for this to happen. Right? In the second case, as soon as someone, so you still have to wait for this to happen. So when you're a price maker, you need to wait, basically. Okay? But as soon as that happens, you right away you just go across to Eurex, and you can trade. Everyone is good with that? Yeah? All right. Now, here is a similar idea, except that this time, I'm just really following page 75 and trying to reinterpret that. The difference now is the bid price of the two exchanges are the same. They're supposed to be level, okay? But the offers are different. So again, if someone was happy to sell to you at this level, okay, and if you are so lucky that shortly after someone buys at this level, that's the best thing to happen, because you make all this money, okay? But you have to wait for that. Alternatively, you buy here. So in the first instance, you were able to sell here. That's the first case. The second case is you are able to sell here. And then, so you buy at bid 2, but you sell again as a price maker. Now, this one you also have to wait, because you are selling at the offer, okay? But you get to make this amount of money. All right. Now, the third case is you buy here. So this is the second case. The third case is you buy here, and then you sell here. Now, here you don't have to wait, but guess what? You haven't made anything, okay? So sometimes maybe you just want to get out. Then this would allow you to do that. All right? Yeah? Sure.
What are the risks in this asset spread arbitrage? Because it seems that you can increase your transaction volume, you can earn money, there must be some risks. Otherwise, it's free lunch. It's too good to be true. So, what are the potential risks?
Okay, it's an excellent question. I can give you my response in two parts. Number one is that these are actually very simplified examples to try to show you the concept of intermarket arbitrage. Now, in practice, they don't really happen very often, or they don't happen like this. Not really, okay? I think in the old days, when computers are slow and communication is not so developed, that may be the case, but now it isn't. So now it's a question of, microscopic seconds. And if you wanted to make fast profits, there are other ways, and I'll show you an example in a moment. That's number one. Number two, assuming you can make money, okay, what is the risk? The risk is when you have done your first trade, the market is too fast and you are not able to do the second one. That would be the risk, okay? That's, I think, it's the key risk, okay? So by the time you want to turn around and try to put on an opposite trade in Eurex, already the market's moved, okay? And now this is, so first of all, let me take one step back. This is actually just trading practically the same thing, all right, in different exchanges. So it is closer to the idea of an arbitrage, intermarket arbitrage, okay? Now the next example, which is what we call pairs trading. Now, the idea here actually is a little bit different. Try to get that clear in your mind. The reason I say it's different is that now you are not trading, some index futures against some index futures in two locations. You're not doing that. Okay, now here, what you're doing is you are trading convergence or divergence between two underlyings that are related, and you think they are, or they should have some kind of medium to long-term relationship between ICBC versus ABC, or Nike versus Adidas, Samsung versus Apple, Microsoft versus Google, if you think that is a good comparison, stuff like that. Okay, now this kind of pairs trading, so the idea here, and in fact, Rick, for your question, this might be far more relevant. Okay, so the idea of pairs trading is that you see two things in the market and you think that they should always move roughly in a similar pattern. Okay, so maybe one is, if this was the price of something, then this is the price of something else. You think that it should always be, let's say, 1.3 times of the other one. Okay, let's say that's your observation. Okay, so the moment they actually get out of sync, you think that in the medium term they will get back. That's the assumption. Okay, or it could be that they are way too close and you think they should go the other way. That also can happen. Now, that's what we call pairs trading, which is based on what you observe to be the statistical correlation between two underlyings. Okay, so that is a, so I've now switched to a different idea. Okay, and you actually there are some slides further down which makes use of that idea. A little further down, where hold on a second. Yeah, the concept of pairs trading. Okay, and here the example is to try to trade. Now you're not trading Euro stocks against Euro stocks. You're trading the DAX versus the Euro stock. So the DAX is the German index, but the Euro stocks actually has 50 European stocks. So they are very similar, okay, but they are not the same thing. And the idea here is that they should be connected via a relationship where you would trade one DAX future for 7 Euro stocks. Okay, so there is some kind, you think there is some kind of theoretical relationship between the two, and the relationship is this one. Okay, now this is your assumption, so you better be right. Okay, but if you are right, then the moment the Euro stocks is too expensive, then you would try to sell the Euro stocks and buy the DAX. Okay, the moment the Euro stocks is too cheap, you would do the opposite. What do I mean by too cheap, too expensive? Well, it's governed by this relationship here. Okay, I think that's all I want to say for now. Okay, and there's some more notes regarding how you would trade that in practice, including some techniques like when you already have a position, then the next time when you, let's say you're long, so you already have a position, so your next trade, when you are making prices, you would not be so aggressive when you buy. So you would prefer to buy cheaper, and you are happy to sell cheaper also, okay? Because you are already long, and this is what's called inventory-based pricing. They mentioned this in the notes, okay? And also, what do you do if you are wrong? You have to be prepared to get out when you have a trade, and after a certain time, it still doesn't look like that you are going to make money from it. Okay, so there's a time stop. So all of that actually is already in the notes. Okay. Yeah, there is now in the slides a little further. There is this term called credit. And some students ask me, what the hell does that mean? You see that word here, okay? When they keep saying credit, a 2-point credit, it just means you need to make a bit of money, okay? So you need to make 2 points profit, okay? And that is why you will adjust your bid and your offer downwards. Okay, so I'm just trying to tell you what this means. Okay, so this credit just means you want to make some extra money by widening your bid offer spread. Okay. Now I want to just grab a question here. This was actually someone wrote to me. Hi Sam, hope you just had a nice Christmas. I did, thank you. So here's the question I asked you last Friday about derivative trading. Why I cannot use an IOC? I think it can be partially executed. It's in page 43 of the PPT slides, lecture 1_2. You can see the attached picture. Okay, there's a question. If you go to page 43, now, what's going on here? What's going on here is, let's say you want to buy some stocks of a particular company. And now this only happens in the United States, so it's, I guess, of theoretical interest. If you only trade Hong Kong, or in fact, it does not apply to most markets. But there is a chance that when in the future you become a trader or a fund manager, you trade the American market. It is possible. Okay, so I'll share with you what I know. Okay, so let's say you want to buy a particular stock and you want to buy lots of it. You want to buy thousands of shares. And right now you can see that there are two markets that are offering this share. You can either buy in market ABC, so you can buy at this price for this size, or you can buy in XYZ at this price for this size. Okay. Now all these questions that you see really are just different ways to manage how you execute an order when you are trading with big size. Okay, so which market do you go to? Either you go to this one, or you go to this one, or you could go to both. Okay, it's called an intermarket sweep order. When you go to one and then you go to the other. Okay, and if your order is bigger, do you try to buy 300 from here? You try to buy 1,000 from here, or do you send 1,300 to here? Okay, and when it's done, then the other 300 will go to here. So there are a lot of different ways to do this. Okay, in a market where there are multiple exchanges, that's the point. Okay, that's the point about these slides is when there are, and the US market is the best example. So when there is a market with multiple exchanges, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, whatever, okay, and you can buy a stock in different exchanges at different prices for different sizes, there are a lot of different execution techniques. Now, as to the question, so when you come to the next page, so let's say you want to buy, let's say you want to buy 800, okay? You want to buy 800, and now if you want to buy 800 and you use 800 stocks, that is 800 shares, and you go to ABC, since they only have 300 at this price, what's going to happen is this will be executed and then the other 500 will be cancelled, because if you use an IOC, that is, okay? And I think when they say I cannot use an IOC, it means that the rest of it will just be cancelled, okay? So this student, when he asked, why can I cannot use an IOC, I think it can be partially executed. It is correct. But if you are serious about buying 800, you would not send an IOC order to market A, because you look at this and you just know it won't get done. Okay, so the idea is, okay, then how should I handle that? Okay, now here is where it gets interesting, and I wasn't really going to talk about a flash order, but I guess I should, because it's mentioned here. Okay, and the way they work is like this. Okay, so there are different exchanges. So maybe this is an exchange in New York Stock Exchange, and then there's let's say in Chicago, okay? So you have different exchanges, and of course, they compete for business, okay? And then there's your broker, your stockbroker, and then there's the customer. Okay, now this is how it works when you are trading stock. So the customer gives an idea to the broker. So let's say I want to buy, 1,000 shares. In fact, a good reference point is the tutorial file for last week, where I had a slide in there talking about flash order or flash trading. Okay. Now, so I'll use this as my reference point. Okay, so I'll just use this to explain. So the two exchanges are NASDAQ and BATS, BATS. This is another exchange, okay? So what happens is there's a stockbroker, there's a client, and the client actually wants to buy 5,000 shares. And they are happy to pay $21.05 or better. Okay, so that's the instruction they gave to the broker. I want to buy 5,000 shares of a certain company. I pay this price or better. Now, right now, what's happening is in NASDAQ, there is 1,000 shares available at a price of 21. So that's good, okay? Because that actually fits the client's requirement. The problem is they need an extra 4,000 shares, okay? Now, the other exchange actually is showing a different price. Where there are 4,000 shares available at a slightly higher price of $21.03. Okay, do you get the scenario here? All right. So there are two exchanges, and when you give instructions to the broker, by law, they have to go to the exchange that shows the best price first. Okay, so they go to NASDAQ because that's where the best price is, even though there is not enough. There's not enough here, but they are showing the best price, so you have to get that for the client. Okay, now here is when it gets interesting. So logically, you would think that the other 4,000 then should be shown to another exchange. Okay, so the order should now go from the broker to NASDAQ, and then the rest of it to BATS. Somebody came up with the idea. Okay, well, how about before the rest of the order goes to BATS, before that happens, what about we just show this 4,000 buy order within this exchange? Now, what do I mean by within this exchange? Now, in NASDAQ, so they are connected to, let's say, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs and who knows what else, okay? So they're going to flash this order for the 4,000 shares, okay? They will tell these guys, oh, by the way, there is somebody interested to buy an extra 4,000 shares at 21.05 or better. Is there any interest? Okay, so they do that, and for someone like Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, they actually have to pay to see that information. Okay, so it's not for everybody. They have to pay for it, and the order will appear for half a second, which is already a long time. Okay, well, it's captured by the systems. So if they have a big client behind, it is possible that they can match it, and then they say, yes, we have an interest. Or if not, then half a second later, the order will go to BATS, okay, or somewhere else. Now, this is what flash trading is all about. So the order is flashed for half a second, and quite often, someone like Morgan Stanley, either they have a big client or they have their own position, they are able to match that, and the order never even leaves NASDAQ. It doesn't go anywhere. Okay? So if you are from the other exchange, you're going to protest. You say, wow, that means I never get any business. Okay? So that is why there's a time limit of half a second. Okay? And of course, it also can work the other way as well. Okay? So maybe an order was shown to BATS first, and then they can flash that. Now, if you look up on the internet information about flash orders, you see there's a bit of controversy because, well, first of all, what is the good point? The good point is actually quite often you manage to get the client what they want to do at a cheaper price, at a good price, within the original exchange. Okay, that's the good part. Now, what's the bad part? The bad part is these guys, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, or Deutsche Bank, when they see that big order, okay, they are allowed, and they do, to step in front of the client so they can sense that there might be a big order coming, okay? And they would go into the market and they would try and buy first, okay? And that has to be done in less than half a second, okay? And it is done in less than half a second, okay? So that's the bad part. Now, I just give you an introduction. The 500 millisecond advantage. 500 millisecond is half a second. Okay? It's longer than blinking of an eye. Okay. I want to tell you this, because it is mentioned in the lecture notes, so you should have some idea what this is. Okay. So the concept of a flash order is to briefly expose it to a limited number of participants who pay to see that information. Okay. So if you are seriously interested in this, you are curious, by all means look it up and tell me more. All right. Why aren't you decided? I don't know. I don't see. Why not? Thank you. So for the next couple of days, what I'm going to do is we will finalize this assignment draft. And it's still just a draft. Okay, so we'll finalize this, and I'm going to put it up online on Blackboard. The due date will be January 25th. So like I said, there's plenty of time. And on your part, you need to create your own team. Okay? So I'm going to set a time frame on this, probably by this time next week, we should all be in a team of some kind. If not, I'm going to help you on that. Right? So with that, I wish you a happy new year. See you all next year. Okay? Take care and have a nice evening.